Alright, so I know I just did one of these not too long ago, maybe a week, 5 days, something like that, but I got new cards. It's changed enough between the main and the extra deck to warrant another profile, and I'll do more test hands with this version soon. Also, if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. I'll leave some other channels linked down below if you want to subscribe to them as well. They're good Dark Magician players. Also, give me some feedback on this list. Let me know your opinions, and we'll get into it now. We'll decide. It's right there in the extra deck. There. Then we'll go through the main. First off, start with the bricks. I talked about this recently, so I'm not going to go over it too much. So 2 Dark Magician, 1 Red Eyes. Very basic for Invoked DM. You don't have to play the Red Eyes if you want to play more of the Timaeus engine. But for now, I'm on it. Now we're doing 3 copies of Magician's Souls and the singular copy of Magician's Rod. Souls is your foolish and draw power of the deck. Fairly strong, can help make your circle wide going second. Magician's Rod can search you any Dark Magician spell or trap. Pretty basic. We've played them both for like 4 years now. Now the reason we're not on 3 Rod is because this is still a Invoked Dark Magician deck. Alistair is the primary normal summon of this deck. He'll be getting the Mecha Butt and keep playing a little bit longer. Now, if you want to play pure, I highly suggest cutting Alistair, obviously. But it is something I would recommend you play an engine. I personally, here soon, am going to do some videos on a Dogmatica engine and the branded engine. Because I know a lot of people like Branded Dark Magician, and the Dogmatica package is one of my favorite engines to play with Dark Magician, personally. Now, moving on from Alistair, we got the 1 Timaeus United Dragon to help you go for your Dragoon or Dragon Knight plays, and you're playing your 1 Apprentice Illusion Magician. Now, I'm not playing the Dragon Knight, but Timaeus can help you make it if you want to, and Apprentice is just so you don't lose the Access Code Talker, and it can help you boost up your other monsters so you can push your game a little bit easier. Now, rounding up the, I guess, core monster cards from Invoked Dark Magician is 2 Illusion of Chaos. Illusion of Chaos, Stratos for the deck, get you any monster you need. If you're playing the Ritual version, you can't add Rituals for some dumb reason. Like Konami think we'd actually... You know, it's kind of dumb if they don't want us to use our Broken Ritual monster or Broken Fusion monster. We have to have a whole bunch of dumb ways to summon Dragoon or Magician of Black Chaos Max if you're playing that. So, yeah. Moving on for our final monster. 3 Ash Blossom Joy Spring for the Braided Fusion. Ash is just one of those hand traps that can just hit most decks in the game. It can hit Sword Soul, but it's not going to do a lot. It can hit Dragon Link. It can hit Sky Striker. It can even hit Eldritch, which something Impermanent Veiler really can't do. So, that's the reasoning for all the monsters I'm currently playing. There's not really anything really spicy about that. That hasn't been in any of my lists that I've done before. Even my pure one, which has done really well on views. Thank you guys for that. It's at like 1,500 or 1,400 views right now. The regular Invoked one's at like 500, so that's still good, 400 or 500. So, first spell card we were playing, triple ref, 1 Magic Life Fusion. Now, I have thought about cutting Magic Life Fusion just to fit more hand traps in, but it's still such a strong card to help you go for a second Dragoon play. It's a really good top deck later in the game. And 3 ref to help turbo your Dragoon. It only loses to Ash. Even without Verte, I feel like we still have to play 3 of it. So, pretty basic there. We'll move on from our fusion cards to our more field spells. So we are playing triple copies of Magical Meltdown to help you get to your Alistair and so they can't respond to your fusion plays. A single copy of Terraform, because that one, if it was that more, I probably would play it more. And now for the tech that I might get some hate for. 2 copies of Mystic Mine. Now, you know, why are we playing Mystic Mine? It's because our deck is kind of slow and bricky now without Verte. And we have to fit in so many other engines to make the deck viable. I feel like we need something that can slow down our opponent, especially going second. You know, if they make a big board, you know, they end on a Boral Savage or Borrowin if you're playing Dragon Link, or if they end on like Mirror Jade and Aliver and a Masquerade playing against Branded Despia. Just play Mystic Mind and play your copy of Ref. Go on from there. Moving on from that to our Dark Magician cards, we have one copy of Dark Magical Circle. You really only need one, even with one Magician's Rod. If you want to play two, that's fine. I would cut Terraforming or the Upstart you'll see later. Triple copies of Soul Servant. It's your primary search off Rod, and it's just a very good card in general. Hope you get some draw power and some stacking. And the last Dark Magician card, one copy of Eternal Soul. It's a very strong card. Again, you really only need one because both it and Circle can get bricky, and you really don't want to brick in a deck that already struggles with that. And plus, you have two copies of Illusion of Chaos, and then you also have two copies of Preparation of Right. So if you need it, just search for it. Prep will get you Illusion of Chaos, which can get you Rod, so you don't really need it. Like, you don't really need multiples, especially in Purity. And then you're playing like 3 Rod, 3 Prep, 3 Illusion, or not, well, you could play 3, but I want 2 Illusion of Chaos, or 1 copy of Invocation. You only need 1. It's recyclable. If it ends up being dead, or that, like, it's engraved and you don't have a Banished Alistair, that is like 1 in 20 games, and we don't play for those. We play for the other 20 games that actually matter. That's how we get our deck to be somewhat competitive, is playing for the other 20 games, not that 1 in 20 games. Now for our last one of Spells and Traps, we are playing 1 Upstart Goblin, because it works very well with our copies of Soul Servant and Eternal Soul by stacking our deck and looking at the top 3 cards. And one called By the Grave, it combos very well with Ref. Not too much to talk there, the card should probably be banned, but I'm glad it isn't because we play Red Eyes Fusion. Then our last card is 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. If you want to play more hand traps, cut Terraforming, Upstart, and the Magical Eyes Fusion. Or if you don't want to play Mystic Mind, you can play more hand traps that way. But for now, this is what I'm on for the main deck. Now we'll move on to the extra deck, which personally has changed the most, I'd like to say. Starting off, pretty standard. We got 2 copies of Dragoon, nothing really to say there. It's Dark Magician's Boss Monster. I'll move him down some. We got 2 copies of Invoked Mechaba. You can play 1 if you want to. I'm on 2 because it's like a pseudo Dragoon. 1 copy of Invoked Purgatrio. Again, you could cut this if you really wanted to. Doesn't come up a super large amount. 1 copy of Invoked Agodes. If you watch my branded Invoked Dogmatica video, you see how well this can be used. Now we're playing our Super Poly targets for the extra deck, as you can see in the top left-hand corner. Starring Venom and Dragostapelia. Just strong Super Poly targets. If you don't want to play Super Poly in the main, or even in the side, cut these 2 and play like a Relinquished Anima and Dragon Knight, Dark Magicians, Link Spider. Something that, you know, you'll make on a consistent basis. Moving on, we have our 1 copy of Artemis, because Artemis, it works very well to recycle your Magician's Rod, and if you go for Mechaba off of Alistair, your 1 copy of Imduk for Magical Eyes Fusion play. His effect comes up sometimes, not a super large amount, and he also helps make your turn and circle live. If you have Dark Magician on the field on your turn, you can just link him into that, then you have an interruption for your opponent's turn. Now we have our Salamangreat Great Almirage and our Shakir Gardener to go for Purgatrio and Mechaba. Also, if you're playing a Dogmatica engine in regular Invoked, or if you want to play it in this, you can banish this off Maximus to go for your El Shaddai Aquilone off Schism. This in turn gets you into. Now we're playing 1 Dark to Dark Charmer. Very good to help you go for your 1 copy of Selene. If their opponent's playing Dark, which most of the time they will. It's a fairly heavy Dark format. Then we're playing our 1 copy of Access Code Talker. Finally got mine. Finally got both of these. I did play this one, Selene, at a regional recently, but I borrowed it. And now we're playing Access Code and Selene. It can help us go for game OTK. It can help us stall to be able to do that. Mystic Mind. It's a fairly strong package. If you don't have this, again, you can play Anima and Dragon Knight or something. that would be, I'd say, your budget option. It doesn't do the same thing, but it's there. So Link can also help revive your Dragoon. Access code for OTK. Dark the Dark Charmer is just a generic good Link monster. If you're playing a deck that's a lot of darks, play it. If not, then obviously you cannot play it. But moving on from there, we'll go into our side deck, which is honestly really level dependent, or what you expect to see at your regional. Personally, I'm going with triple copies of Super Polymerization. For the Brandon matchup, Dragon Link plays into it. Sword Soul doesn't really, but they can. That's really it. Flunder doesn't play into it very much. Striker, I guess, can, but not really. Then you're playing triple copies of Dark Ruler No More to help you go second. If you have Forbidden Droplet, play it instead of Dark Ruler, or you can fit it into main if you want. I'm on Dark Ruler because I can't afford Droplet. But instead, I'm on... not instead, but also on triple copies of our Imperial Order is Banned package, that being Secret Religious Spellcaster. Fairly strong Floodgate. If you're going first and you get on Dragoon, there's not a whole lot of decks that can play through that. You just win against Branded. Flunder has a very hard time playing against that. Sword Soul can play through it depending on their hand. Dragon Link is iffy. Most of the time they can't do. Now you're playing your 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone and your 1 Harpy's Feather Duster to get rid of back row. And then our triple copies of D-Barrier. Call Synchro against Sword Soul. Fusion against Despia. Unfortunately, you can't call Link. But, you know, it's still fairly strong. It's not strong against decks like Dragon Link or Salamangreat if you have a lot of rogue decks in your area. So, that would be my updated deck profile for Invoked Dark Magician. Now, I guess I can go into... Oh, I just hit my tripod. So anyway, we'll get into two completely random test hands using the deck. So really quickly here, I know one of you guys commented that I should keep my hands in the camera when I do this. My tripod isn't really high, so it's kind of hard for me to do that. But I'll do it right here. So we'll get a shuffle in. We will table shuffle. So no, this deck was profiled, and I really, really don't want to brick on camera. We'll do 1 or 2 test hands here. Probably closer to 1 because I don't want to do a 20-minute video again. So we'll see how that goes. So we'll start our table shuffle. Just something I'm not the best at. My roommate is actually really horrible at shuffling in general. He plays like 12 starters in his Branded Despia list, and he can't open either. Or like 1 in 5 games, he'll just brick. So, like, I don't understand it. I don't really have a hard time bricking, but it does happen. Especially in Invoked Branded. That deck is really consistent. You don't always see your Invoked engine, or you don't always see your Branded engine. Which is why the Dogmatica package is so good in that deck. It just helps you. It's just 3 engines put together that all complement each other. Unless you have Dark Hole, like a Chad, like happened in that video. So we're going to grab all of our cards here, put them all together. Give us another quick shuffle here and a cut. Now we'll go off our first 5 random cards, unedited. So we got Apprentice, Circle, Ash, Alistair, and Red Eyes. So not the greatest hand. But I'll show you how I would play this out, because we do have a break. So, obviously, first off, we're going to normal summon Alistair. So, in turn, get us our copy of Invocation. Right here. Now, you will link off your copy of Alistair. We'll just put him right there. And grab my extra deck. For the sake of time, we'll just go not Artemis. Making sure she's in camera. Now we play our copy of Invocation, Banish. We'll get ourselves our copy of Invoked Mechaba. Our secondary boss monster of the deck. Now he's okay, but he's no Dragoon, so we got that right there. Then we'll activate our copy of Invocation, which will put it on top of the deck, put Alistair back in the hand. Now we'll get a good old shuffle in here. Also, I might do a testing video soon. I don't want to do it back to back with this because there is one test hand in here, one or two, but I will do one soon, or maybe a combo video. But now let's see where we're at. We have Alistair back in our hand. So now let's activate our copy of Dark Magical Circle, which will let me look at the top 2 cards of our deck, which is Infinite Impermanence, Magician Souls, and Red Eyes Fusion. So for going next turn, we're going to stack our copy of Ref. Ref is a very good top deck, especially if we have Red Eyes in our hand and it can get it out. We'll move our deck closer in. Actually, put the deck right there. And now it's not really the best hand, but we do have it. We have Alistair to try to swing over it. We have a monster negate where any card is going to search, and we have obviously a monster negate off Invoked Mechaba. So we'll do one more just because that wasn't, you know, it wasn't the best test hand. So we'll put the extra deck and the main deck right there. We'll get one more good shuffle in here. Do it on camera. This deck is very fun. If you're going to play Dark Magician, you have to play Invoked or Branded, I feel like, or a Dogmatica engine. Pure Dark Magician is fun, but you have to rely on a lot of floodgates like Skill Drain and Secret Village. So, unfortunately, that is the state of Pure Dark Magician until we get new support. The Chronicle Sorceress isn't very good, but it's better than nothing. So what do we got here? We got one copy of Ash, Red Eyes Fusion, Dark Magical Circle, Soul Servant, and Terraforming. So that is kind of interesting, actually. So if we're going first, let's see what our going second card is. Top deck, Imperm. Alright, if this is going second, we win. Just by default. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to play our copy of Terraforming. And you're not going to search Meltdown. You're going to search your copy of Mystic Mine. If they have more monsters on the field than you do, which typically they will, unless they completely brick. If they have one, obviously you're going to go for Meltdown, so they can't judgment your copy of Ref. If they have Ash here, it sucks, but unfortunately, we don't really have a way around Ash with this hand. Now you have Mystic Mine in your hand. Let's say, for example, we're playing against Sword Soul, so we're going to activate our copy of Imperm to negate their Baron de Fleur, so they can't negate our Ref. We'll now play Mystic Mine. Now, you could just honestly just play Mystic Mine and save that for later, but if you don't have it and you're playing Sword Soul, use Imperm. Worst case now, they have to... Well, if you're playing against Branded, they could chain your Branded in red to your copy of Red Eyes Fusion, but the odds they do that is decent. They'll probably do it to the Dragoon effect of pop. But now their Mirror Jade, if it was active, is no longer active. So we'll send our copy of Dark Magician to the graveyard and our copy of Red Eyes. So we have a Dragoon with 2 pops. Just do really strong. I mean, we have a 3K beater. If they try to do anything onto a summon of Dragoon, they really are just going to get negated, which will boost us to 4,000. Now we have that. Now we still have Ash, Soul Servant, and Eternal Soul. So let's say we do Dragoon, pop Baron, pop Chi Zhao, and then typically at that point we just swing and we win. But let's say for whatever reason they have another monster and we can't kill him. So at this point we're going to activate our copy of Dark Magical Circle, chaining our copy of Soul Servant after they had their chance to respawn, but they're not going to Ash it because who the fuck ashes Circle? Which will now get us our copy of Eternal Soul. Which will set up a Banish on our opponent's turn for another interruption. And it will make our Soul Servant live for a draw 1. If you're going second, this still applies, just don't use Imperm. you're still doing this. Because you open Soul Servant, Circle, Dragoon, and you have an Ash. So just these two interruptions. You have Eternal Soul, which you can now set over there. You always want to leave the middle column open in case you get a copy of Imperm later in the duel. So now we're going to banish our copy of Soul Servant, which will let us draw one card, which will be for our Dragoon Negate, which just happens to be a second copy of Ash. So 3 interruptions going first. Going second, it's okay. Going first, we won't have Mystic Mind either. We will have Meltdown. So we would have had a copy of Alistair also. But that hand was pretty good going first or second. I'm not going to do any more test hands for the second time. But let me know anything you would change about the deck. Leave me some comments down below. Subscribe if you're new here. And comment down below mustard if you made it this far in the video. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.